My name is Sister Siobhán O'Keeffe. I am the Cognitive Impairment Project Director here at the Anna Trust in Rome. And it is my pleasure to welcome you all to our webinar this afternoon entitled, I Have Come That You May Have Life in All Its Fullness, from St. John's Gospel. This is a reflection webinar rather than a technical webinar. So it's very much on a period of prayer and reflection and how we can maybe live life more fully as we, at any stage in our lives, but maybe particularly as we grow older. I will go slowly. I will try to make it as prayerful and as reflective as possible. And it's my pleasure and my privilege to be with you this afternoon. I have come that you may have life and have it to the full. We're very familiar with these words from St. John's Gospel, but I believe that they always have new calls to us when we enter deeply into our inner spirit and listen for the voice of the Lord today. So I invite you to pause and to think on, what do these words mean for you? I have come that you may have life and have it to the full. What about love, feelings, emotions? What does fullness of life mean for you in these areas of your life? In your feelings, in your emotions, in your relationships? Where do you find yourself in this picture? Are you smelling the pine and the trees as you stroll gently through the woods? The crunch of the leaves beneath your feet? Listening to birdsong or feeling the water lap over your feet as you drink deeply from your cupped hand? Why have you chosen to sit by this lake now? What childhood or holiday memories do this picture evoke for you? How old were you and who was with you? Here in this picture, the water appears to be very fresh, very clean and flowing. But what about the water in your life, in your spirit? Is it flowing or stagnant? And how is your own spirit today? What is your thirst? Are you able to engage with the invitation from Jesus to enter ever more deeply into fullness of life? And what might your resistance be? Speak to him about it and place it in the water so that any resistance, any fear, any anxiety might be washed away, so that you can sit with him by the lake. It might be the Lake of Galilee. It might be a lake in your own countryside. It might be the lake where you grew up, or it might be a well where your family drew water. I have come that you may have life and have it to the full. I am a pilgrim, ever seeking, ever searching, ever hoping, ever praying. I journey slowly along new pathways, listening deeply, pausing, resting. There are many crossroads, many pathways, many watering places. And as we set out on a pilgrim journey, we set out alone, knowing that we are not alone, as he or she who invited us accompanies us. A pilgrimage is a time of seeking, deepening faith, of new questions, and sometimes new answers. And how do you feel as you set out on this pilgrimage today? Are you able to slow down and leave the cares of yesterday or this morning aside to embark on this new journey? What is your previous experience of pilgrimage? Graces received, insights gained, stopping places. What are your desires for this new pilgrimage? And what grace do you seek from the Lord today? Tired by my journey, I pause at the well of Sychar, calling to mind that Jesus, my Lord, stopped there too. I sit in silence, in stillness, with eyes of love. He sees the longing deep within my soul. I allow my parched spirit to drink freely of his living water, to quench the yearnings within, to refresh me and to help me to feel more whole once more. And as you gaze into this 150 deep spring-fed well of Sychar, what images come to mind? Fresh cleansing water, renewing your spirit. An encounter with the Holy One, reminding you of his covenant of love with you? Or do you hear the rumble of political tensions all around? And what is your response? Are you expecting a blessing from Jesus today? When he asks you, how are you? What is your response? Is it true that you are always fine? How often do we say when someone asks us, how are you? I'm fine. What thirsts or longings are in your spirit today? What gift would you like to receive from God today? And place that desire before the Lord. You may wish to identify some of the major blessings of your life: good health, family, community, ministry, friends, faith. Are you expecting a blessing from the Lord today? What might you hope for? Are you able to share with the Lord how you really are? Your joys, your struggles, your fears, your anxieties, and the many graces for which you are grateful. And our God is a God of infinite love and infinite bounty. So he quite likely wants to bestow even more upon you, if you come with open hands, open heart, and an open mind as to what he wishes to offer you. So pray with those desires for a moment. Your thirsts, your longings, maybe what might block those desires at this moment. Maybe those you don't still recognize or acknowledge. And gratitude for so much. Regret, our thoughts, emotions, and our attitudes are key determinants in how we age. They can threaten the quality of time we bring to the present. Why did we do this? Not do that. Fail to do the other. The light of our souls begins to dim. And in the words of the spiritual writer, the Benedictine sister Joan Chichester, she writes, "Regret is not insight. It is a sand trap of the soul. One of the gifts of aging is to be comfortable with the self that we are now, rather than the one that we are not." Remembering that all human beings are, as the book of Genesis says, made in the imago Deo, in the image of God, confirming your identity as a child of God. You are a person of profound dignity, profound dignity. You are a cherished daughter of the Lord, and nothing that has happened in your life diminishes that. However, it can be helpful to name regret, bring it into the light so that it does not continue to embed itself in your soul, which serves no useful purpose, but just drains your energy. And the difference between reflective living, which can deepen our quality of life and relationships, and falling prey to a sand trap of regret that saps our joy. So at times we all may have regrets, but bringing the regrets into the light, placing them into the heart of our God, or into the lake of cleansing water, our hearts are set free, so that the light of our souls once more can begin to shine. Oscar Wilde once wrote that experience is simply the name that we give to our mistakes. However, Bismarck wrote, "Only a fool learns from his own mistakes. The wise man learns from the mistakes of others." And God's desire for us is that we feel comfortable in our own skin, at peace with who we are now, so that the grace of God can allow myself to grow into the person God is calling me to be. The burden of regret is that unless we come to understand the value of the choices we made in the past, we may fail to see the gifts that they brought us. How often does something very good come out of something that may have appeared to be negative when it's brought into the light of grace? The only mistakes are those that are the ones that we don't learn from. And like our beautiful butterfly, a butterfly evolves out of a chrysalis and continues to become. And look at the beauty, the sensitivity, the gentleness, the color, the fragility. And that's how our hearts and our souls are before God. God holds us with infinite compassion, with infinite love, with infinite sensitivity, and is constantly calling us to wholeness and to fullness of life. You know, if a butterfly comes into a room, the well-being of the room rises. A butterfly comes and sits on your shoulder, and you feel better for a moment. And he moves off to the next person. But if you don't hold the butterfly or touch the butterfly with extreme gentleness, you kill it. We can kill our own souls and the souls of others if we do not respond with compassion and with love. God is ever present in our lives, Each new season is bubbling over with His Spirit unfolding each day. On our pilgrim journey, we listen for the beckoning Spirit everywhere to the end of the search. And here we have a couple, they might have been together for 30, 40, 50, 60 years. They're still young in spirit. They're still holding hands in the playground, and they're silent. No words are needed. They are comfortable with who they are and comfortable in each other's presence. And during the Jubilee year of hope, Pope Leo said, "Old age is a time of blessing and grace, and that the elderly are for him the first witness of hope." So each season is a season of grace, not just senior years, but each new day is an opportunity to enter ever more fully into each season's blessings. The Dalai Lama wrote, "Love and compassion are necessities, not luxuries. Without them, humanity cannot survive." This is both the love and compassion that others offer you and the compassionate face that you adopt towards yourself. Immersed in this belief, you are more able to embrace life in all its fullness. And now I invite you to think about what brings more color, more joy, more hope, deeper peace into your life now. This elegant young lady is full of color, full of hope. There's a feather in her hat. What dimension of my life have I not lived well up until now? What can I do about it now if I am to become the person God is calling me to be? There might be just some little niggle in your heart, and maybe I should do something about X, Y, or Z. It might be to reach out in friendship to someone. It might be to write a letter to someone. It might be to take better care of my mental, physical, emotional, or spiritual health. It might be to take up a new hobby, to have more fun, to rest more, to pray more, to be more, rather than to constantly feel I need to do all the time to prove who I am. Knowing how to use the time that we have is essential so that it can be filled with joy for ourselves and others, a time when people rather than projects come first. And here in the most difficult circumstances, this could be Venezuela last week or the week before, after the rubble and after the catastrophe, you have a little girl and you have a rescue worker. But however, the joy is not diminished. She's barefoot on the stones. The gentleman is helping her. Her toenails are painted, and she's wearing colored bangles on her outstretched arms. The surroundings are challenging. However, neither she nor the gentleman, who may be her dad, seem to notice the difficult circumstances that they are in, as they are fully present to each other. They are fully present to each other, and this is the source of their contentment. And whose silent presence fills you with a sense of comfort and peace, comfort and hope. Who can you sit quietly with, even in the most difficult circumstances in your life, where no words are necessary, where no matter what is going on, it is okay to share it, to be there. The healing presence of another. And who are those people that you wish to thank for their silent presence in your life at difficult times? A burden of aging is that I may stay more buried in my losses than aware of my gains. God does not wish us to feel weighed down, but to allow him to heal and transform us into the person that we have been becoming all our lives. An oasis of serenity in a world gone sour with age. And you may notice that the elderly lady may be rolling back the years and seeing herself as the young woman she once was. What losses do I need to name and release so that they do not diminish my joy any longer? Do I need help to do this? Is it available through my congregation, through a health service, or elsewhere? And I gift myself with the courage to name, claim, and let go. It is so sad. It is so very, very sad sometimes when we meet folks as they grow older and they're weighed down with the losses of the past. Some are so huge that no matter what help or support is available, the pain is too deep to totally lift or break that pain. But we can all carry burdens at times that if we name them, or maybe with a bit of support or a bit of love or a bit of understanding, that the burden can become lighter and there can be more life and more joy. St. Patrick's breastplate speaks of arising each morning with God's strength to pilot me, God's strength to pilot me, God's might to uphold me, God's wisdom to guide me, so that in all the changing tides of our lives, we may know God's presence with us and we may allow a deeper spiritual beauty to be born within us. And so much of life, there is change. Change is the essence of life, but it is not the issue. It is the frame of mind that we bring to change that matters, and it determines the spiritual depth that we bring to this new phase of our lives. Am I open to change? A burden of these years is that we come to think that our dreaming days are over, when we become mired in the past and refuse to grow. And the risk is that I may make my past mistakes the definition of my lives. But God accompanies us to dry the tears of past mistakes and to cleanse our vision for a new dawn full of a deeper hope than we have ever known, a deeper hope, with the presence of our God walking with us. Last year was the Jubilee year of hope, and there was so much life, there was so much joy, there was so much vibrancy, both in the church in some ways, particularly when we embrace synodality, there is life and joy and hope in the church. But here in Rome, just the thousands gathering, the song, the music, the dance, the celebration of youth, the celebration of consecrated life, when we had 4,000 sisters gathered in one assembly alone in St. Paul, in the Paul VI Hall. The commitment to religious life at this time in our church. All ages, all nationalities, all congregations from every corner of the world. Then we moved on from there to the celebration of the elderly. And that too was very vibrant and very positive and hopeful, and a whole presentation on the essential nature of incorporating and supporting and embracing the elderly in our churches. How do we fully embrace the evangelization of the elderly? How do we help them to share the wisdom and the gift of their lives with our youth? And how do the youth embrace and support and love our elderly? In a church of inclusion that welcomes everybody. So whether you live on the streets, whether you live with an advanced dementia, whether you're paralyzed, whether you have a mental health issue, whether you're the mother of a newborn child, a teenager. This is the Church of Hope that Pope Francis had aspired to, and which Pope Leo is doing his very best to roll out and support as well. Just to witness him in Lampedusa on Saturday, when he went and prayed at the tombs of those who had died on their journey across from North Africa to a new life, and the thousands who have died in the waters. But he prayed a blessing on the graves, and he prayed a blessing on the waters, so that all would be set free. That is the hope that we are desiring. That is the fullness of life that God wants for every man, woman, and child. And God never tires of forgiving us. We are the ones who tire of seeking his mercy. A blessing of these years is to keep on dreaming and to do what we need to bring that awareness to our world, however small, however boundaried it may be, the voice of reflection, of reason, of penetrating awareness that God's wisdom is with us. Sophia is with us. We've not long celebrated Pentecost. What new dreams do you sense emerging in your soul now, by day or by night? How many of the prophets in the past and even the prophets of the future have they had their vision of a better world in the small hours of the morning? If you've ever had the privilege of sitting with somebody as they lay dying at 2 or 3 in the morning, or worked in a labour ward as a woman has given birth at 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 in the morning, the incredible sense of God's presence with you in both places. The wisdom of the night, the prayer of the night. How much prayer is offered by our contemplative communities in the small hours of the morning. And as the clock, as the sun moves around the world, at every moment of every day, 24 hours a day, the host is raised in the Eucharist, offering wisdom and hope and consolation and joy and healing to our fractured, broken, and joyful world. Let us reflect on the past, share what is present, and let go of all that stops us holding on to hope for tomorrow. Right across the world, the young, the elderly, the well, the unwell, the rich, the poor. It takes us all to build a better world. Throughout our lives, we are shaped by memory that affects the way that we remember the past, live the present, and perceive the future. We carry around a great number of memories, both good and bad. What are the memories of the people who inspired you? The absolute prophets of your soul. It might be a parent, a grandparent, this person who lived down the road, a teacher in a school, someone you saw being generous and hospitable to a poor person, a speech by somebody. I have a dream. I have a memory. And what are the memories of the places that are a sanctuary to you? Sitting with a loved one, sharing a conversation with a member in your community, the joy that you felt the day you made your vows, when you heard of the birth of a new child, or as you saw the sunrise in the morning. Are there some symbols or objects that can heal memory for you? How would you like to be remembered? My role here at the Anna Trust is I'm the Cognitive Impairment Program Director. So part of my responsibility is to organise training and support for sisters right across the world, particularly in the Global South, on cognitive impairment challenges. Support for people living with any cognitive change, Alzheimer's disease, dementia, head injury, any of those challenges. So I'm very aware of how incredibly important memory is and how do we support people whose memory is changing. But we all hold memories. And if you were to pick two memories that were really precious to you as you go to pray tonight, what might they be? What might you like to surface to give thanks to God for? And what memories would you like to pass on? What would they be? Would it be a family situation, a family celebration? Would it be a profession day? Would it be a speech to promote world peace? And what is your most precious memory of God? The woman at the well, I'm sure that was a profound moment for her, but there are many, many others. If you've ever delivered a small baby, a mum will say to you many years later, I never forget the moment I saw his face or her face for the first time. And also when people are dying, people will always remember that last conversation, those last words. A word of kindness, a word of thanks, a word of gentleness. Unfortunately, the opposite can also be true. So the words that we speak, the attitudes we carry, the values we hold are so, so important. Our advanced years are a part of one's vocation, in the words of Karl Rahner. Our advanced years are part of one's vocation. These years are a grace not given to everyone. The final meaning of one's life may remain yet to be determined during these years. During our advanced years, life is not running out, but coming to its fullness, its definitiveness. It is a stage of life that is irreplaceably important. So every moment of our lives is of equal value to God. One moment leads to the next. These years are a grace not given to everyone. The final meaning of one's life may remain yet to be determined during these years. And during our advanced years, life is not running out, but coming to its fullness, its definitiveness. This stage of life is of irreplaceable importance. And how often have we heard it said, maybe as an older sister may say to us, well, why am I still here? And someone may comment, well, your mission is not yet complete. Looking back over your life may offer a chance to give yourself what you didn't know before you learned it. So we have to be gentle with ourselves. When did you last give yourself a hug? When did you last buy yourself a nice scarf or something that was really special to you? Might be, something as simple as a scarf, a pair of shoes, whatever. Generosity, a strong sense of generativity, a desire to share wisdom with others, and to pay forward a deepening sense of gratitude for all of life, the joys as well as the sorrows. They are complementary. We have Good Friday and Holy Saturday and Easter Sunday. And to develop a sense of living with a profound sense of gratitude and a profound sense of generosity. All is free gift. A strong sense of generativity, a desire to share wisdom with others and to pay forward a deepening sense of gratitude for all of life, the joys as well as the sorrows. And today we talk so much about keeping our mission and our charism alive. And speaking in 2022, Pope Francis said, in his message to participants in a conference on charism and creativity, that there are 4 essential C's to help maintain and keep mission alive: culture, charism, creativity, and connection. The culture of your membership, the charism of your congregation, your own creativity and experience, connection with other discoveries about the longevity revolution and its influence on religious congregations. And here at Anna Trust, a huge part of our work and our vision is the collaboration between congregations moving forward. Their shared desire to connect, to collaborate, to support each other in mission, and I suppose, number one, in our spirituality and in our prayer, but also in the way that we support each other, and particularly moving forward in the care of our elderly. Pope Francis reminded congregations to rethink their charism, to recompose it in the current social, cultural context, and to plan it for the future. To rethink charism, to recompose it in the current socio-cultural context, and to plan it for the future. It has to be an evolving charism to respond to the needs of our time. An evolving charism to recompose it in the current socio-cultural context and to plan for the future. So we're looking at the culture of our membership as congregations, and as our congregations become more and more intercultural, and we need more and more intercultural dialogue and relationship, the culture will change. The charism of your congregation, to cherish the gift that your founding members offer to you, and to keep that alive in response to the changing church, a church of synodality, and a church in a world where experiences change. Connection with other discoveries about the longevity revolution and its influence on religious congregations. The reality is that people are living much longer than previously. So we need to respond in new ways to the changing needs of our congregations, because sisters who previously may have died at 70 are now, many are living well into their 90s. So how do we plan for their practical care, their spiritual care, their pastoral care, the financial responsibilities of our congregations? Right across the world, because what's happening in Europe now will also impact on Asia and Africa. Sisters in Africa and in Asia are aging as well as those in the West. And how do we meet there and respond to their changing needs? Rethink charism, recompose it in the current socio-cultural context, and plan for the future. While you search your heart's yearning, what are you seeking? And what is your quest? What am I seeking? What is the deepest desire of my heart? As some of the spiritual writers will say, pray for the desire to desire. What am I seeking, and what is my quest? What is that deep, deep, deep well of seeker desire, down at the very bottom of that well of your soul? What is your quest for fullness of life now, at whatever stage of life you're at? Knowing that the God of all ages, who forgets no one and loves beyond measure, is with you now and with all of our world at this time. The God of all ages, who forgets no one and loves everyone beyond measure, is with us now as we remember. Our next Anna Trust webinar will be on the 18th of September, and the link is already on the line online on the webpage, and it will be done by Alison Walsh, who is an occupational therapist, and it will address a very important issue for all of us, but particularly for the elderly. It will be on falls prevention in the elderly. Prevention in the elderly. So you're most welcome to join and to spread the word amongst your communities, because as we know, falls is one of the greatest fears of the elderly and one of the greatest risks because of the associated complications that people can have after falls. So I encourage you to link into that. And we'll also have other webinars later in the year with other relevant subjects. So I would just like to thank my team here at Anna Trust, Miriam and Gianluca. And thank you very much indeed for your support as ever. And thank you, sisters and friends from all over the world, for joining us this afternoon. Thank you and good afternoon to you.